Yo, Shortbox Nation, this is Botter, and I'm here to tell you right now that con season starts early this year with the return of Northeast Florida's premier anime, comic book, and sci-fi event, Collective Con. That's right, Northeast Florida's largest pop culture convention returns for its 10th year on March 8th through the 10th at the Prime Osborne Center in Jacksonville, Florida. 10 years of Collective Con, they're pulling all the stops out to make sure this is a can't-miss event. And the guest list they got going, don't even get me started on the guest list. I mean, they've got A-list celebrity guests and voice actors from some of your favorite movies, anime, and video games like Elijah Wood and Sean Ashton, Ray Park, Trisha Helfer, Ross Marquand, Max Middleman, and Bo-Katan herself will be there, Katie Sackhoff. Tell me what other convention is giving you the opportunity to meet Frodo and Sam from Lord of the Rings, Darth Maul, and One Punch Man all under the same roof. Only at Collective Con. And if you're looking to get some of your favorite comics signed, or if you want to get an original sketch from some of the best comic artists in the world, well, you're in luck, because there'll be plenty of comic and creator guests there, like DC comic artist extraordinaire Clay Mann, Harvey Award-nominated illustrator John Taylor Christopher, Marvel and DC cover artist Chris Stevens, and acclaimed Star Wars author Timothy Zahn. They'll all be at Collective Con this year. And if you're looking to bring the family, or if you want to make a weekend out of it, you're in luck, because there'll be so much going on at Collective Con that weekend in the form of vendors, fan panels, video game tournaments, cosplay contests, after parties, and a bunch of fan events. You can purchase single and 3-day weekend passes now using the link in this episode's show notes, or by going to collectivecon.com to book your tickets and hotel. Buy your tickets now, and I'll see you at Collective Con, March 8th through the 10th. Now let's start the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Shortbox Podcast, Season 7.
The Shortbox Podcast was recorded before a live internet audience.
Yo, Shortbox Nation. Welcome back. This is episode 326. New friends and first-time listeners, welcome to the show. You're now tuned into the Shortbox Podcast, making you part of the Shortbox Nation. So welcome to the club. My name is Botter Milligan, and today, me and my crew will be discussing interesting comic news and other pop culture headlines from the past month that we think is worthy of a spotlight, as well as our two recurring segments of the podcast, Fistful of Comics and Champion Season. We're doing all of that this episode. But first, allow me to introduce the rest of the Shortbox crew here for me in the studio today, starting with the Edbot 5000 himself, Mr. Edmund Danzar.
Oh, guys, sit down, please. too kind. Oh,
and nice. Closing out the squad today is Miss Ashley Lanny.
Boo. Oh.
Hey, this applause makes me uncomfortable.
As you can tell,
soak it in.
As you can tell, we're short one person today, with Cesar being out for work reasons. He'll be back next week. But that means for you listeners, you get an episode of cordial peace, nice discussion with friends, no voices. I mean, what else can you ask for? I mean, we got the cream of the crop here with us today, all right? And you can tell Cesar I said that. And the last thing we need to do before we get started is to thank and shout out our Patreon subscribers, the best patrons a podcast could ask for, because without their help, we could not keep the lights on here in the Shortbox studio. So if you like what we're doing and you want to support our content, please consider joining our Patreon community. We'd appreciate it, and we'll give you some perks and rewards in exchange. Just click the link in the show notes to join the Shortbox Elite. But if you're listening to this show, it's probably safe to assume you're a podcast connoisseur with good taste who has already subscribed to the show, or at least knows how to subscribe to a podcast. And if that's the case, help us spread the word and get a friend to subscribe to the show. Tell them to give us their fucking money or their time. Either one works for us, and we'd appreciate it a lot. Let's go and get this show going and start off with today's episode by visiting our first topic, which is not a new topic. We've kind of covered it here these last two episodes, but the Loki debut happened last week. I thought it'd be wrong if we didn't get Ashley's thoughts on the first episode, because she has many life-size Loki daggers at home, and I don't want to be on the receiving end, So, Ashley, what did you think about your favorite character's debut show?
No, I loved it. I think I smiled throughout that entire episode. It was so good. Like good. Every part of it, I have no issues so far.
Clothes off? Like that.
She has that moving at one frame per second to slow down.
Oh, yeah.
Come on. Show me the goods.
Someone put that as their profile pic, like when he gets punched in the face. And it's all
that makes that would make a great loop for a GIF. That'd be a great GIF.
But yeah, it was great. The only thing that stinks is it's only 6 episodes. I already know I'm going to want more than 6 episodes.
Yeah. And I hope it's not more of him just watching the Endgame DVD. Like at the episode. You're like, oh, I'm just going to fast forward this. Oh, is that what happens? Oh, nice.
Oh, where's the BTS? It's got like the Russo brothers like commentary. Yeah, we decided to kill off Loki because,
What's cool is like that whole, it has like this kind of 60s, 70s aesthetic to it.
Yeah.
Like this bureaucratic agency. It's in that weird little educational film they did.
Oh, yeah.
I love it's like I was telling you off there. I think this is already, my favorite series. It's like just, I love it. I love everything and love it's like, and I just thought it because I just watched it this morning and it's a little fresh in my head. So it almost, and we were talking about Kid Loki last time, and it's like, oh, I can see him like, okay, you mean everything is predetermined and looped? And that's one of the reasons why Kid Loki came into existence, because it's like, this isn't my fate. This isn't my, so that other Loki that's the one that's killing the agents. I don't know if you think that could be Kid Loki.
No, that is Lady Loki. Apparently
that's
that
Lady
is
Loki?
like,
okay.
I think there is a, like a screen grab going around.
Okay.
It's not a secret. And I'll see if I can pull up the actress name, but I think they've confirmed
because
Lady
the way
Loki's
they kept it like
show.
in darkness and you couldn't tell how big or small, the person was. I was thinking, is that Kid Loki? Because basically that's why one of the reasons why he kind of reincarnated himself, because he's like, I've become predictable, because when he's interrogating, it's like, do you like hurting people? It's like, what are you the god of mischief? He's just kind of roasting him for 20 minutes. It's like, I could see him trying to mess with that holy timeline or whatever they call the timeline. And just kind of, that's his way of messing with it. So it could be multiple Lokis doing this.
That's what I'm hoping.
So there's an English actress. Her name is Sophia Di Martino. They haven't officially revealed who she's playing in the show, but I think the rumor mill is that she is on here as Lady Loki. But that is yet to be confirmed. Just a strong assumption. So we'll see.
That's cool.
Which I think having like her as the main villain would be like a fly callback to both the comic books and just once again like putting a spotlight on like another strong female villain lead, in my opinion. But to Ed, to your point, this is probably my favorite. I think this might be the best first episode of a Marvel Disney Plus series. I think about WandaVision episode 1 and how kind of like off.
It's jarring.
Yeah, jarring. Jarring's a better word.
Going on
for sure. I think Falcon and Winter Soldier was a good start, but it also just felt like a lot of the like a very good transition from like the other Captain America movies. This one just felt like they set up like a completely different world, like a different vibe, like a different branch of the MCU that I don't think we've seen yet.
Oh my God, they can go anywhere. And it's funny, he even brings it up. It's like, why didn't you do anything when the Avengers messed with time? It's like, oh, it was supposed to happen. Next. It's like, oh, okay. They really put the nail in that.
Yeah. And just like the junk drawer full of Infinity Stones, I think was my favorite scene.
Because talk about a way to showcase.
That guy is awesome. He's like, it's a Tesseract. What's this called again?
Sounds
Casey, right? Stupid. He's walking away.
But talk about, and that was my favorite scene because I mean, like, talk about a way to quickly showcase the next level of threat or like where the stakes are. This, this
like
season.
This doesn't even work here. None of that works. Yeah, paperweights.
Now, granted, I forgot that. I'm not sure if it's like comic canon or MCU canon, or it might be a combination of both. But if the Infinity Stones are taken outside of their normal timeline, I think they are rendered useless. Yeah. So that would kind of make sense because they are outside of their time stream. So they're not completely, a waste of junk. But to the TVA, it's like, this don't work here.
Yeah.
Ed, you brought us something that even as Drew has said, which is, everything is on the table at this point. Mm-hmm. He's not surprised by whatever they decide to pull, but I think the possibilities of them doing like a Secret Wars would be pretty realistic. You're dealing with Secret Wars deals with like, characters from different multiverses, kind of fighting it out to see who has the dominant timeline. Mm-hmm. So I think they've been setting that. Hell, they even made mention of it in that little TVA commercial. Multiple timelines fighting over blah blah blah. I can see them maybe like working it back to like Secret War was the event that kickstarted the TVA.
Yeah.
So actually, it's completely won you over.
Oh, absolutely! Like 5 minutes in.
I think any doubt, not that I had any of Tom Hiddleston, was quickly evaporated. Like that dude is so charming, and when you get to see like his timeline play out, it's like, man, this is a character that has has walked multiple lines and roles, and to see this different angle of him is pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he's basically, you get to see him without powers now.
Yeah.
And kind of like Kid Loki, where he doesn't have his powers. He's basically maneuvering things with his, charm and his wit and his words.
Essentially recycling a character, this is a very unique way to bring Loki back.
He's too popular. He can't be dead. Bring him back. It's from a different timeline. I know I made fun of it earlier too, but when he's watching the movies and he's tearing up and stuff, and then he's showing them that he got his mom killed, he's like, "What is this? This is what you did. This is all you." Just seeing that and his reaction to what he would have done, and that's in that timeline. It's just that was pretty good stuff with him.
Ashley, are you planning on purchasing any new Loki memorabilia? Loki Hot Toys, maybe?
They're doing another one. They're doing another 6-scale Loki Hot Toys. They're so expensive, though. I think this one's only $250.
Oh, that's not
$300.
bad for them. It's cheap for Hot Toys.
Right? Yeah.
And I'll tell you this much, Hot Toys resells pretty easily.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So limited.
Yeah, treat that like an investment.
Yep. Hey,
It's only-
Josh, it's an investment.
It's only an investment if you're going to sell it at some point.
True, and that's where I dropped the ball at. I end up
Get two. One for you, one to sell later.
It'll pay for itself.
It'll pay for
he's
itself,
right.
Josh. It'll
He's
pay for
right.
itself.
He's right. Actually, we're just trying to help you out.
Yeah.
What other excuses do you need? I think we've said them all.
The market is hot right now.
All right. Well, good stuff. I want to move on to this next topic, and this is one that I brought. It's Eisner Award time. I believe that they are having the Eisner Awards. I think they normally do it in July. I know it's normally associated with San Diego Comic-Con. I'm not sure if they're doing an online thing like they did last year, but they did release the 2021 Eisner Award nominations, which is kind of like, the Emmys or the Grammys for comic books. I know personally, whenever these lists come out, I do like to go through them just to see what books are nominated, see if I've got good taste, see which ones of the books I read or the comics I read is nominated. But also they've got really interesting, in a lot of different categories. So I like to go through and see which ones kind of pique my interest. And a lot of times you'll see at least for me, I'll see writers that I really like, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know they released a book this year. So did you guys take a look at the nominations?
Yeah. What are we starting with? Which one?
Well, I guess let's start out with, was there any comics on there that you've read? I guess they'd be from last year, right? From last year and a little bit of this year. Was there anything that you read in the last year and a half that landed or got nominated for an award? Yeah,
I was late to both of these, so they're kind of further in their run. But Bitter Root was nominated for Best Continuing Series.
Yeah,
Sanford Green and Gideon Falls, another Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino. They did. I love their run when they did the Old Man Logan run. It's the same team.
That's good stuff.
Those two I really enjoy a lot. They're part of the Best Continuing. And in the limited series, We Live by the Miranda Brothers, which I have just the first. And it's cool because it's an Aftershock title, so it's cool seeing someone else get in there in the mix, in the talks. And that's a really cool one that I need to revisit. I just have the first issue of that. And then as far as the new one, We Only Find Them When They're Dead.
Yeah, the new
that's really
the
cool.
Hickman joint.
And it sounds like...
No, not Hickman. Al Ewing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's like a post-hardcore band name from 2002. It's like such a long, awkward title, but that's just a really slick-looking comic.
I think I've got the first 3 issues, and the art is fantastic. But and it's dealing with a space story, and Al Ewing
it's
shines
basically
at that.
they're farming, kind of like in Guardians, where there's that Celestial's head. So basically these dead gods and these ships go and harvest all their parts and stuff. It's a wild story.
I was happy to see Friday by Ed Brubaker and I think it's Marcus Martin. And I'll have to double check. I think it's Marcus Martin. But Ed Brubaker has been writing this original comic series called Friday. It's essentially Encyclopedia Brown as an adult. If he had, it's about this girl named Friday who was this Encyclopedia Brown character's kind of right hand person. Cool. She goes away for college, comes back, and then realizes that there's a lot more going on in the city, and there's another mystery they got to solve together. But it's one of those original digital series that you pay for on Panel Syndicate. So you pay what you want, you get a digital copy. And
there's no print for this. It's just digital?
Well,
are they doing it?
What was the name of that series? They've done a series. Ed Brubaker, Marcus Martin had did a series on Panel Syndicate years back, and enough people. It was big enough and well received that they did do a reprint. And I can't remember the name of it top of my head, but I wouldn't be surprised if this gets a release. It's only on 2 issues, so to see it, nominated, I think it's cool for a couple of reasons. Not only is it a good story that I look forward to whenever it drops. I think that's the downside of it, is because it's an original series or creator-owned digital series. They release it as they get to it, so it's not like on a regular schedule. But not only is it I think well deserved, and it's Ed Brubaker, but also I want to see this trend of more creator-owned, like real creator-owned books get nominated. So that was one that impressed me. I see Daredevil by Chip Zdarsky and Marco Ciccicato nominated for Best Continuing Series. I know, Ashley, you and C have been hyping it up a lot these past couple months. As far as these like nominations go, I would say that book, the Strange Adventures Tom King book.
Oh yeah, that's good.
And then there was one other one on the Jeff Lemire, like the Black Hammer stuff. Like those have been my 3 favorite
that
things.
Collection was nominated.
Yes, yeah. It was nominated for Best Graphic Album
Have you
reprint.
Seen those big albums?
Library editions?
No, I haven't.
Beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, and it looks like all these books, because he did the Barbalian.
Mm-hmm.
All these books have been nominated in at least like 1 or 2 different categories.
Gideon Falls is his. It's like he's killing it. He's like one of the best writers.
Yeah.
The writers list is insane. Like, I don't know how you pick them.
I know, and then the Department of Truth, the James Tynion book, like that's a great book too.
Speaking of let me take a look at this best writer nomination list.
That's like a murderer's row of all-stars.
So it's about 7 nominations per category, if I'm looking at this correctly. So Ed Brubaker is on here for Pulp, Reckless, and Friday, which all of those have been great. Matt Fraction's on here, Jonathan Hickman, Jeff Lemire, James Tynion, Chip Zdarsky. That is an A+.
Yeah.
Like, whoever wins, it's like, whoever wins, wins, like, I'm not mad at either or. And then, let me take a look at the best penciler inker team. So you got Mike Allred for that Bowie Stardust, which I didn't know came out like this year or last year.
Either.
Marco Ciccicato for Daredevil. Is that Jorge Corona for Middle West? Mitch Gerard, Evan Shaner, and Sanford Green are all nominated.
Yeah, Sanford Green's probably one of my favorite artists right now.
Yeah.
His style is my ideal, like, comic book style.
And so this is a category that I like looking at because I usually get put onto like books that I immediately go either order on Amazon or hit up Ben. But there's a category for best comics related book. So, books were about the topic of comics. And there's a few on here that I think we've mentioned or I've kind of had on my cart for a minute. But American Daredevil, Comics, Communism, and the Battles of Lev Gleason, which I think talks about the creator of Daredevil, like the original Daredevil. There is also Ditko Shrugged, The Uncompromising Life of the Artist behind Spider-Man and the Rise of Marvel Comics. They got the Toshin, The History of EC Comics book on here. And then one, Ed, that you had brought up a while back, Invisible Men, the Trailblazing Black Artists of Comic Books. That's one of my favorite categories to look at for the Eisner nominations because I love reading about, comic books, the business, the behind-the-scenes stuff. So it's cool that there is a category for this in the Eisner nominations.
Yeah, and then just like comics during like important parts of American history. It's really,
for sure.
Really cool.
For sure. I think the Eisner nominations always, they always have a lot of things covered, and I think it's a good recommendation for new fans of comics and those getting into the genre to it's worthwhile to take a look at what is being nominated by colleagues and peers of a lot of your favorite creators, because I think that's how the Eisner nominations work. It's a panel of writers, artists, journalists, educators, professors that nominate this list. So it's not coming from some no-name company or someplace else. It's like a group of people who are into it.
It's not just like a popularity contest.
For sure. Yeah. Well said. So I wanted to go ahead and put a spotlight on that and let our listeners know that the list is out. I'll probably have a link to it in the show notes if you want to go through the full list. It is a lot of categories. It's a lot of categories and about 7 nominations per. And it would just take a whole episode to do that. So I will go ahead and pass it to you, Ed, because you brought a topic yourself.
Yeah. The He-Man teaser trailer, the one that's being produced by Kevin Smith for Netflix. They released a trailer a few days ago, and I had my reservations because, and I'm a fan of Kevin Smith's, but just when he was attached to this title, That's kind of weird because it's like I'm a fan of his, and I'm not taking anything away from what he's done, but I've listened to a lot of his shows, podcasts, and things. I've never heard him mention He-Man. One time. You know, Batman, a lot of the other comic book characters.
Yeah, you know what he likes.
Yeah, I know what he likes, but he's like, and then and I get it, when he's selling, yeah, I'm He-Man, I've always been a big fan. It's like, I've never heard you talk about He-Man. That's weird. and the fact too is like
is nerd checking.
I know I'm nerd checking like super successful fellow nerd. But it wasn't a make or break. It wasn't like fuck this, Kevin's. You know, it was like this is a strange pick. You know, because he hasn't really delved into that kind of fantasy stuff that I'm aware of. And I've never really heard him talk about it to any length. And especially the fact that he does a lot of gay jokes in his movies. It's like, that's ripe for, He-Man is what more can you ask for? But, seeing this trailer, I'm like 100% on board. Like I said, it's coming out July 23rd. 5 episodes are dropping. That Bonnie Tyler song, the Holding Out for a Hero.
That Saturday Night Fever disco version.
Oh my God, that's such a great trailer. And the voice cast is nuts. Like I found out Mark Hamill is going to be Skeletor.
I mean, yeah, that's like kind of enough.
That's awesome. But you have Lena Headey from Game of Thrones. Cersei is going to be Evil Lynn.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yo, I got the IMDb pulled up, and I did not recognize her because I think her natural hair color is like
she
brunette
looks
or something,
like,
and it throws me off.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yo, sir, what?
I know. And then, like...
How much are they paying?
Dude, there's more people. Like, Phil Lamar is Hero, which I think is He-Man's son.
I'll be honest. I love Phil Lamar, but I'm never surprised when he's on something.
Oh yeah,
like I'm always like, where is Phil Lamar?
Kevin Conroy is Merman, which is interesting. Sarah Michelle Gellar is Tila. That's pretty cool.
Justin Long is on here.
Yeah, Justin. Well, this is Buddy. Yeah, Justin Long is on there.
Oh, yeah.
Stephen Root is going to be Battle Cat, which is odd, but funny. And then one interesting one too is like just to kind of go back to horror. Tony Todd, the Candyman himself, is going to be Scareglow. So it's got a really great voice cast, and Jason Mewes is Stinkor. That's ridiculous. He's got to have his buddy.
Hold up, man! I didn't click the load more. I was like, okay, Mark Hamill is probably going to be the top
stacked cast.
Wrong.
No,
this one's for you. See, I know you ain't gonna listen to this, but Henry Rollins is on this cast list. He's gonna play Triclops.
Triclops, yeah, that's right.
And then I guess fellow Game of Thrones colleague Liam Cunningham. He's gonna be playing Man at Arms. Didn't Liam play? He played the Onion Knight in Game of Thrones, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe I got that right. Wow,
yeah, that's good.
Good job, Sir Davos.
That's all I got. Yeah, thank you. Very good. That is all I got.
Great cast. Yeah, and it looks great. It looks like, I don't know, I couldn't find out exactly who is doing it, but it looks kind of like the Castlevania production companies.
Tag me in, Ed.
Oh,
I got it.
What was it?
So the animation studio that's doing this is Powerhouse Animation Studio, and they've done speaking of Netflix, but they did Castlevania.
Okay. It looked like that.
They did the social media ad campaign for the Injustice 2 video game.
Okay,
I think they also did like you guys know what like Epic Mickey is, like these little animated shorts.
Yeah.
They were the production company behind that,
and it's not a reboot. Surprisingly, it's actually it's a continuation from the 80s where the 80s cartoon left off.
Oh, that's cool.
So hopefully it has some of that. It doesn't take itself too seriously because it wasn't made to sell toys.
Yeah.
It wasn't like some great artistic.
Speaking of which,
endeavor.
have they announced a new toy line at all yet?
Oh, they're going to. They've been doing toy lines. That property has been done by several different companies, and then I think Mattel is redoing like the original style, like they're in Target and stuff now. But I think like Super 7 has done like crazy fancy versions. They've done the movie that it's a piece of shit, but they did the characters from the movie. It's like, really? So, I mean, He-Man's always been like kind of a steady property of toys, but this is you can see all the toys in the trailer. I'm like, oh my God.
Honestly, you could just release toys of the actual cast and I'd probably scoop them up.
They'll probably do another line of toys for the animated because they do look different enough. There's that
the animation. That trailer,
looks great.
Yeah, the animation looks super.
It has that kind of that anime influence into it, so you can definitely have a whole new line.
Actually, what did you think? Did it win you over? Because we just played it. We forced you to watch it.
Yeah.
Before we hit record. What did you think? Yo, this is Botter. Sorry for interrupting this episode, but I'll keep it brief. I wanted to let you know about a massive sale we have going on over at the Shortbox store on all of our merchandise and apparel. That's theshortboxstore.bigcartel.com. You can now save 20% off your entire order using the discount code YOO, YOO. So if you've been waiting for the right time to finally buy that Gauntlet snapback, or if you ever wanted to buy any of the shirts you see me wear on the podcast, well, now's your chance to get them for a steal. We still have a few sizes left of everything, but they won't last long, and once they're gone, they are gone. And then I mentioned that all of our apparel is screen printed on high quality material. None of that heat transfer or direct to garment stuff. Our shirts are some of the most comfortable ones you'll ever wear, and the hats look even better in person. So wear your support for the Shortbox Nation proudly, knowing that you're going to look damn good doing it. Get to theshortboxstore.bigcartel.com as soon as you can, and don't forget to use that discount code YOO, Y-O-O, to save 20% off your entire order. All of this information can be found in this episode's show notes if you want to get there faster. Thanks for not pressing fast forward. Now back to the show.
No, it looked like fun. Like that whole trailer felt like it was like 10 seconds long because it was so fast.
Yeah,
it was like super, super quick, like cutting scenes. Like it was good.
They
it was
even
a lot.
make Orko look cool.
Yeah,
Orko's the shits. I hate Orko.
So, okay, I didn't know that Kevin Smith was behind this, but it makes sense now because I noticed Harley Quinn Smith, his daughter,
of course she's in it,
is casted in it. And I was like, wait, that's a very random. And I don't think we even mentioned who's playing He-Man. It's Chris Wood, which I guess in comparison to the rest of the cast, is like
I didn't know who he was, so I
well, let's take
know the other people.
What has he been? Okay, he's been in Supergirl, Containment, The Vampire Diaries, and then The Carrie Diaries. So he's just diary type
working
of guy.
actor. Yeah,
No.
He-Man Diaries.
Good stuff.
Oh, and they're gonna do an after show too. So they're gonna do
what?
Like the Masters of the Universe. It was weird because the first title I saw was called Revelations, the Masters of the Universe Revelation After Show. That's a bit much.
Who's going to host it? Chris Harvard?
Kevin Smith.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it's going to be with
that's
the
a wrap.
cast.
Yeah, it's going to be tight.
So, 5 episodes are dropping. I'm not sure if they're going to do like a split season, but I know 5 episodes, and they're going to have that after show talking about it with the cast, and I'm down. I'm excited.
Yeah. This show is not aimed towards like what you think the target demographic is. Like an after show, 9-year-olds aren't chilling to like.
This is for guys like me
after show
who like the toys when they were kids and want their old He-Man, and they're basically playing to that audience. They didn't make him look like Steven Universe, like the Thundercats. They didn't change the aesthetic of it. They kept true to the actual, which is awesome. Which I don't mind if they did that because, like I said, I have my He-Man. He's over here in the 80s, awesome, still there, existing. So when they redesign stuff, I don't get that upset about it. It's a fucking cartoon. I don't get that upset about it. But it's cool that they kind of went the other direction than like what She-Ra did, which is a fine show by itself. But I like the direction they, instead of going that, because that automatically, as soon as those designs came out, people were automatically up in arms over. It's like, guys,
instantly
chill. Watch the show first, and it's
you're
good.
embarrassing
It's actually
yourself.
good. It's like if you want super sexy She-Ra from the 80s, it's
she's still there.
She's still there.
She's still sexy in the 80s.
Still that little skirt and Pegasus. She's still there. But this is cool because it's not only keeping that, honoring the 80s He-Man, but it's continuing that story, which is cool.
I cannot wait to watch Kevin Smith in this after show interview a classically trained actress like Lena Headey.
Hi.
Asking her about what it's like to voice evil Lynn. I just can't wait.
Hey, man.
All right. Good topic, Ed.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and close this out with this last one that kind of caught my eye. And I think it's worth bringing up. There is, it's kind of bad news. I don't ever want to see a company go under, especially related to comic books. I mean, it's already hard enough to have, any type of business in the world of comics. But there's it's a comic company that we spotlighted, I think last year when the initial news first came out. It might have been 2019 if I'm not mistaken, but I'm talking about the comic company Bad Idea. It was founded by several former Valiant Entertainment mainstays, but they announced this week that, they had plans to cease operations by the end of the year. This was the same company that when it initially launched, it announced, I think the shtick was that they were doing, the comic industry in the way that they sell their comics to retailers.
No digital.
Different. Yeah. So a few of the things that they had announced upon initial launch was that, they were going to produce limited number of series. They were releasing only, 1 to 2 issues per month. It was priced at $3.99. Each issue would come in a prestige format. There was going to be no variant covers, no digital copies, no collected editions. And it also, when they initially launched last year or the year before, they were only distributing their books to like 20 retailers. And then they expanded.
And they went out of business. Go figure.
And then they expanded to more, of course.
Yeah.
But it was like you had to like apply as a retailer. You had to promise that you wouldn't sell the books for more than a cover price. You couldn't sell it past a certain, like there was a lot of just restrictions and rules that you had to follow as a retailer. But some of the titles from Bad Idea, which were not, that many in comparison to some of the other publishers that have been around a while, but Matt Kent and Doug Braithwaite, speaking of
Kid Loki.
Kid Loki. But they had a series called ENIAC, I believe that's how you say it.
Yeah.
Robert Vendetti and Jordi Belair had a series called Tankers. They also had a series with Margaret Bennett and Zeb Wells, called The Lot. There was just a couple. It was a small handful. You can go on their website for the full list, but I do know in some of the comic groups that I follow online, there was just a lot of confusion about how to go about getting the books. There's like people genuinely interested in some of these series because they like Matt Kent, they like Jordi Belair, and they wanted to buy these books and to support, but they had no idea how to go about getting it. It was either like their local comic shop wasn't a retailer, or the aftermarket was crazy. Like people,
and they didn't have like TKO where they had like a retail where you could order it from them, right? Yeah.
No.
So, what were they thinking? And that was part. It was weird because they were like very self-effacing about it.
Yes,
because they were always
very self-aware, kind of like.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's just so strange. Is this some weird write-off for some weird rich guy? What is this?
Must have known what they were doing. They come from like Valiant. They're not strangers to the comic industry is what I'm trying to say. Even Bad Idea, I think in their press release, they were saying, our sincerest thanks to the incredible journey. We'll be announcing and releasing books through the end of the year. If you go to badidea.corp or whatever their website is, they do list out the comics that they're going to be putting out the rest of the year. Yeah, it's badideacorp.com. And they have like a list about 5 or 6 books that they're going to put out the remainder of the year. I don't know if they're going to just, fold and close up shop. But they did put out a video on their, I saw it on their Instagram. I'm sure it was on their Twitter, but it was all based around the premise of this hashtag. And it was hashtag the haters were right. And it was just like a collage of like different comments various people were leaving on their pages, and it was all like, "Oh, bad idea, fulfilling prophecy, bad idea. Well, couldn't be more on the nose."
Yeah, Beersay time.
Yeah, it makes me think that this is probably going to be a fake out. They might switch up their business model, rebrand. Yeah. I think that's a high possibility, but I don't know. I thought it was kind of something to bring up.
It's just like they're fucking with us this whole time. Like playing mind games. These weird mind games.
Weird, but
it's trauma. I don't want this.
Didn't Valiant go under for a long time?
They
Valiant was gone for a while, and then they came back.
Made a movie, Bloodshot.
It's just it's hard enough to sell. Yeah, it's hard enough to sell comics doing it the right way.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't understand.
And not providing like a digital option, even though I'm not a digital reader. It's like. That's just kind of like you need to embrace the technology of the time and adapt.
Yeah.
I don't see how you can have that kind of business model. Well, and we really don't know what their master plan was because this, it's like this could be still an elaborate ruse that they're still.
I'm banking on that. I feel like that video they put out recently was like really tongue in cheek, and I don't know if you would waste the time and resources to just have one last laugh. I mean, they could. They could. I really. That line of thinking, I don't think would be too far outside of, Bad Ideas MO. So we'll see. But I wanted to bring it up. If the story progresses or changes, I do want to mention it if anything new transpires in the coming months. But I mean, when I brought it up to us, Ashley, you immediately remembered it was something we did bring up last year.
Yeah, like we just talked about it.
Yeah, like I said, if it wasn't 2019, it was like early 2020, something like that. So that Bad Idea announcement is the last topic that I wanted to highlight before we go on break. But since we're on the topic of comic shops and newer comics, how about we go ahead and jump into our first recurring segment of the show, our Fistful of Comics segment.
You can either have a mouthful of teeth or a fistful of comics.
Fistful of Comics is our segment where we get to talk about some new comics that you can go out and read and find in a local comic shop near you or digitally, if that's your thing. It's also sponsored by Gotham City Limit, Jacksonville's premier place for comics, toys, collectibles, and more. If you live in the area or ever find yourself passing through Jacksonville, stop by the comic shop on Southside Boulevard and tell them the Short Box sent you. Ashley, how about you going to kick us off? What's the new comic you're spotlighting today?
So I'm going to do this, the Young Hellboy series just ended. I know. I'm going for this one because it was short. It was only 4 issues. It's Young Hellboy, so you don't have to like really read other Hellboy to get into this.
It's like a standalone.
Yeah, and it stands alone, and it's just Hellboy. Hellboy and his dad having adventures. So it was just, and it's not heavy. It's just fun.
And you said originally you didn't like it.
I didn't like the first issue because it didn't feel like Hellboy. It wasn't like dark, and he wasn't all broody. He was like just a little kid. But I read it, I finished it, and I was like, all right, I did like this. And Mike Mignola wrote it.
Oh, you know what? I think that part was lost on me because I've definitely picked up that comic and even the second issue at the shop. But I don't know. I think same thing too. I was like, hey, if I'm going to spend time reading Hellboy, I want, classic Hellboy. I want the Hellboy that I'm expecting.
Hashtag not my Hellboy.
But it sounds like it won you over and it turned out being fun.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because I remember he's not caring for it originally.
Is it a book that I could give like a younger demographic, like my nephews or someone?
Yeah, for sure. Start him early.
It's like,
get him on Hellboy.
It's like, listen, Jaden, fuck all that Spider-Man shit and Batman shit. Your fellow classmates are on. This is the good shit. Hellboy. It's Heckboy around your mom, but around your cool uncle.
Young cool. Heckboy. They should have called it Young Heckboy.
That's missed opportunity.
Ed, what comic did you bring today?
I want to specifically this one. There's a new anthology. It's 5 issues in right now, but it's the guy who does Ice Cream Man, the W. Maxwell Prince, which is another anthology series. So it's each issue. It's a cool comic because every issue is a standalone issue, its own self-contained story, and it's kind of on. I guess if you like, I haven't read Ice Cream Man, but it's kind of everything revolves around a clown or a mime. The stories, and I'm not a clown fan. Really, it's kind of weird and creepy to me.
Violator ruined that. Violator from a very early age.
It was before Violator. It was probably the It clown.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, it's a. But this one, issue 5, it was illustrated by Gabriel Hernandez Walta, and it's it's a little dark humor, but it's a lot more light than the previous 4 issues. It's not as violent or as sad as the other ones. But this one is a little old lady clown, and it has kind of the trope of she lives in the creepy house down the street when you're kids, So it has like a, and this kid loses a bet and has to go in the house and take something from this, from the weird creepy lady. And you go in and it is a creepy house full of weird clown relics and stuff because she was a performer when she was young. But the weird thing with this old lady, she still wears the makeup and stuff. So she's doing her day-to-day life, being old, bitching about stuff, but in full clown makeup. Just is bizarre. But it's a really well done little heart to it. But it's a cool, it's a cool book. And like I said, it's something anyone can jump on. You don't have to start from issue 1 because every issue is its standalone and each issue has a different artist and a completely different visuals. So it's really cool. But yeah, something by Image. Yeah, definitely check that out.
Have either one of you had to ever like do that? Like go to the creepy neighbor's house to whatever, get a ball or something?
There always was. I never went in. I never had to be forced to break and enter, someplace to perform a crime. No, but there was always like, I remember I grew up in Murray Hill, and then I lived on the side of Murray Hill that's the the poorer side. But it's nicer now. But when I was a kid, not that great. But on the other side of Roosevelt, that's where all those nice brick houses were. If you go down, just walk down Edgewood. And me and my folks, we always did that, like walk down Edgewood. But there was this house kind of close to the river that was like this old, looks like a haunted house, like moss growing and vines on the side. It always looked really creepy, had an air of kind of menace to it, but I never broke in or anything. No one forced me to do that. But yeah, there was always like that creepy house on Edgewood that was like, oh my God, what's in there? What's going on in there? The imagination runs wild.
Yeah. I wonder if it's still there. Ashley, what about you? Have you ever had to do something like that?
Not like a creepy house. I remember in high school we used to go dumpster diving a lot. And it would be like, who could find the weirdest thing in the dumpster?
Hypodermic needle. Yeah. Oh God.
Gotcha beat. Dead body. Hey.
Human head.
What's the weirdest thing you ever found?
Yeah.
I think just mannequin parts.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, that's automatically creepy.
Yeah, and then
finding
we
mannequin
like
parts outside of a store is automatically creepy.
Funny enough, is like there used to be like a thrift store around the corner, and that's where I got my Mother's Day gifts. It was nice. I was like, "Oh, this is a pretty nice vase." It doesn't smell like urine, or there's no body parts in it. It's awesome.
What were some of the other runner-ups? Mannequin parts and what else?
I'm trying to think of like some of the weirder stuff we found, but I think it was just like we found a lot of mannequin parts, like multiple
Were they
times.
mannequins, or are you just traumatized?
And we
Yeah.
we would take them and put them in other people's trash cans.
Oh,
So
that's weird.
I was in high
Like an
school.
arm sticking out?
Yeah,
Like
we would like
a
go
foot
back to
sticking
our
out?
neighborhood and like put them like an
Poor
arm
garbage
hanging out
man.
of like
Actually, I have a feeling that's fucked up. But
You
I
called
have
my
a-
comic, and she called my comic creepy.
Yeah, I was yeah.
Okay.
I have a feeling Ashley in high school was probably definitely the girl that'd be like, nah, she's trouble. My mom would not approve of me hanging out with her and dumpster diving and scaring the shit out of her friendly garbage men.
Oh.
But good one, Ed. I'm going to go ahead and spotlight this new comic published by Vault Comics. Is called Blue Flame. The cover is what got me. It's written by Christopher Cantwell, who's doing the Doctor Doom series, which I hear is pretty damn good. But the art is by Adam Gorham and colors by Kurt Michael Russell. It's about a cosmic hero named Blue Flame, but he starts out with more humble origins as a do-it-yourself vigilante that fights crime on the streets of Milwaukee. I don't know what it is about.
Milwaukee. It's not a Marvel book. This is 2 weeks in a row.
It has been more than 2 weeks for the record. It's been like
in a row, though. I mean,
yeah,
consecutively.
I'll give you that. All right.
I mean, you don't do Immortal Hulk every time we do this segment, so I mean, I'll give you that. So
I was gonna bring up that I think one of we don't have many rules on this segment, but I think one of the main rules should be it can't be the same fucking comic every week. God damn it! It don't come out more than once a week.
he's just gonna skip the segment. Then he's just gonna walk out.
You're right. And for our listeners who are like, why are they treating Sainzar so badly?
He's not here.
Yeah, we've got a rule. If you're not here to record, it's all fair. It's all fun and love. But back to this comic. During the day, the main character, he's a blue collar HVAC repairman named Sam Brusum, and in the wake of a horrific tragedy, the boundaries of his superhero identity are blurred even further. So you're not really sure yet how he got to the situation, but at some point he gets selected for a universal trial where he's put in a position where he has to prove that humanity is worth saving. So you got this HVAC repair guy who is like a local vigilante that now finds himself on like a cosmic scale. Blue Flame by Vault Comics.
Yeah, that just came out last week or week.
Yeah, if not this week, last
pretty
week.
recent.
Yeah, so I've been on it, man. Like I said, I go to the comic shop now, and I immediately. Well, actually, there's a site I use. It's called League of Comic Geeks. .com, and they always post every book that comes out every week. They usually have the cover. If you click on the cover, it'll show you what the next issue in the series is, who's on the team. Cool. Like it's a good website. I recommend anyone who's just trying to stay on top of what comics are coming out.
Yeah, I use freshcomics.com.
Dude, that used to be my shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that other one out.
But Fresh Comics moved from being because I think they had an app. And then they moved away from an app, right?
I just use the other website.
Okay, I think that's it. But no, LeagueofComicGeeks.com is good. But I always look for new number ones. So when I go in the shop, I know exactly what I'm there to pick up, and I know what I'm missing. So to close it out for this segment, we've got Gotham City Limit's top 3 comic picks for this week. So these are 3 comic book titles that our friends over at Gotham City Limit recommend that you consider putting on your pull list or pre-ordering before the final order cutoff date of June 21st. The first one on the list is Alien Aftermath #1 by Benjamin Percy and David Watchter. It's being published by Marvel Comics. It's for Alien's 35th anniversary, and it's a return to Hadley's Hope. The second comic book on this list is Sinister War #1, also being published by Marvel Comics. It's written by Nick Spencer and Mark Bagley, who I'm always happy to see doing Spider-Man. Dr. Octopus is back. Doc Ock has a new Sinister 6, and Vulture has a new Savage 6, and it's an all-out war for Spider-Man, of course, caught in the middle. And last but not least is Ninjak #1 by Valiant Entertainment, written by Jeff Parker and art by Javier Pulido, who I'm a really big fan of, so I'll probably be checking this out myself. out of the shadows and into the spotlight. The world's greatest super spy has been exposed. Once again, that was Ninjak #1, Sinister War #1, and Alien Aftermath #1. So if any of these pique your interest, go to your local comic shop or your digital comic shop of choice and pre-order them. You don't want to miss out when they eventually release. Thanks again to Ben and the crew over at Gotham City Limit for sending those recommendations. That wraps us up for Fistful of Comics. Shortbox Nation, we're going to go on a quick music break. So this is the part that you get to relax for a little bit, enjoy some music from our man Mecha the Marvelous. He sent me over a batch of new beats this week. This one is called Let It Ride. We'll play this, and then when we get back, I've got an email to read, some announcements to share, as well as a giveaway. We'll be doing another giveaway. Stay tuned for all of that after the music break. Enjoy. Yo, Shortbox Nation, we are back. Once again, that was music by Mecha the Marvelous. That one was called Let It Ride. If you enjoy his music and you want to check out more of it, and even support, man, check out Mecha the Marvelous on Bandcamp. He's got music for sale. I'll include a link in the show notes. Include a link in the show notes. Yeah, check it out. Let's go ahead and kick off this second part of the show with an email. We got a letter from a listener, a good friend of the show, actually, Trey Namo. The name of this email is it a sleeper or a snoozer? It starts with, summer 2021 is upon the Shortbox Nation, and our summer saying definitely is we are vaxxed and waxed and ready to go
baby.
back to the movies. We got some long-awaited summer blockbusters coming out soon to our home streaming services and theaters. Which movies do you guys think are going to be hidden gems that people will sleep on? And what movies do you think are going to be big snoozers that people are going to hate? Personally, I think people are sleeping on Chris Pratt's new movie that's dropping on July called The Tomorrow War. It's a sci-fi. Okay. It's a sci-fi action movie based on a man who's drafted to fight in a future war where the fate of humanity relies on his ability to confront with his past. Sounds pretty trippy and kind of shitty / cheesy, and I'm all here for that. And my big snoozer that's going to suck is going to be the Top Gun Maverick. Damn it, I didn't see that on the list. Also releasing this July, it's a 90-year-old Tom Cruise teacher.
He still looks 50, though.
Trey's staying petty. I love it, though. I love Trey's sense of pettiness. But
jumping off the jets and doing the action stuff.
A 90-year-old Tom Cruise teaching roided out Miles Teller. Wow, I have not seen that name. Roided out Miles Teller. I got to see what he looks like now. But
wow.
90-year-old Tom Cruise teaching roided out Miles Teller and other actors how to be cool, sexy jet fighter pilots because who cares? Yeah, that's a hard pass.
That's a good pick.
Yeah.
Isn't Val Kilmer in that too? Do you know?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Bloated, weird looking. Yeah.
But Trey wraps up with always keep it geeky. Trey Namo. Side note, Corey T looks like the YouTuber Andrew Babish from the cooking channel Binging with Babish.
He does look like that guy.
I have no idea what that guy looks like.
Trey just adds like the wildest and out there references. But I love getting emails from Trey.
I totally forgot about that Top Gun movie.
Yeah, me too. I must have like blocked it out. But let's start with his his question. So, what movies do you guys think are going to be hidden gems that people will sleep on? And then what movies do you think are going to be big snoozers that people are going to hate? Ed, sound like you're ready.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to say the Edgar Wright's Last Night in Soho. I think that'll be a sleeper hit. I think it's not going to be a mainstream hit, I don't believe, just because of the way the movie looks and when it's a psychological thriller. It's very stylized, so it may not appeal to a big audience, but I think that'll be a hit. And I have to second his Tomorrow War as the total opposite of Last Night in Soho is like a big schlocky future. Basically, like the future's so messed up that they have to go back in time and recruit people to fight. It's like, hey man, we're getting killed. We're all gonna die. We need to come back 30 years to like. In the trailer, I just watched it last night because when we had this topic, I just basically watched one of those YouTube things of 2021 trailers,
which is always the way to go.
Yeah, it's just like 30 minutes of trailers and just randomly, and it looks good. It's Chris Pratt. Yeah, it looks There's a lot of time shenanigans going on this year.
Time
between
shenanigans.
Loki and like a few of these movies. And even like the Last Night in Soho, there's some like kind of time things going on that's strange. So yeah, a lot of that's the new trend, time shenanigans. But yeah, that, and then are we doing the one that's gonna stink?
Yeah, give me that one too.
That M. Night Shyamalan the Evil Beach movie. Garbage. That looked like crap. It's like the kids go into a cave and they come back and they're like old and they're on the beach. They can't leave the beach. And then they take up this note and it's written in man, please stop doing this shit. Stop it. Stop.
So you won't be returning to movie for M. Night's
no
post-COVID
watch the
debut.
trailer. And I think, yeah, it looks like it's stupid. I don't care. Stop doing these weird twists. Do something. It just looks bad and disappointing. And like you said, he's burned me too many times.
Yep, don't trust him anymore.
I don't trust you since Unbreakable. Yeah, that looks bad. Looks bad.
Ashley, what you got on your list?
And Paw Patrol looks shitty too.
Paw Patrol.
I know it's a kids movie.
Ed gave it one last.
I know it's a kids movie, but
not
it's
for
just,
me. But
I got
goddamn
like
it looks trashy.
18 cavities watching that trailer. It's just so pastel and perfect and like CG.
You know, if you started a podcast where you like academically and hypercritical critique like kid movies like Paw Patrol, that would be pretty hilarious.
I don't know. I don't think my soul can handle it.
Ashley, what you got on your list?
So sleeper hit, I've got Candyman.
Yes.
Coming out the end of August.
Okay.
think it's
I've
going to
heard
be
like
really
it was
good.
canceled, then I heard it was back, then I heard all kinds of
It says
other
August
things.
27th. It's going to be
Love
here.
Candyman.
So I think that's going to be a lot better than people think it's going to be.
Yeah.
The one, like the big budget one that I think is going to be
Garbage.
kind of garbage. So the Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
Yeah. That
I was gonna pick it, but
yeah.
I can't openly hate on my man Woody
It's
Harrelson.
going to be garbage,
I'm
and it's
hoping
going to
that
make a gajillion dollars.
Oh,
for
for
sure.
sure it's
Yeah.
going to make a ton of money. That's why they made the second one.
Yeah. It's like they made us. Oh, yeah, they made a bunch of money.
My hopes aren't high for that movie, but I'm hoping it's at. It looks like even there, like Tom
If
Hardy.
they turn the campiness up and
Yeah,
just
100%.
are
It's like,
totally
you'll lean
self-aware,
into
it.
then
Yeah.
yeah.
Because
But
Tom
yeah, just-
Hardy, the way Tom Hardy portrays Eddie Brock in that the latest trailer is exactly how I feel. It's like shut the fuck up in him. Like why
He's like
are you
making
talking?
breakfast and like threatening to eat like, and so nobody can hear Venom but him? Is that what's going on?
No, I mean
Because he threatens to eat the Chinese lady in the store?
I think that she's aware. So I don't know.
It's like, Mrs. Chen, where's my Milky Ways? Or whatever the hell. It's like, what is going on here? But yeah, Woody Harrelson, I'm sure that'll be a good
He'll bring the
performance.
campiness
Yeah,
if we
for
need
sure.
it. All right. So my sleeper. So the movie I think folks will probably sleep on is Free Guy, and this one stars Ryan Reynolds. He's playing a non-playable character in a violent video game. It is directed by Sean Levy, and they're doing it based off a screenplay by Matt Lieberman and Zach Penn. And Taika Waititi is also going to be in the movie as well. I was wrong. I thought he was going to direct it or something. I think he's just in the movie alongside Ryan Reynolds. Jodie Comer is also in the movie too. That one looks interesting. It looks like a combination, at least from the trailer. It looks like it's going to be a combo of like Ready Player One,
The Truman Show.
Yeah, Ready Player One meets
Pixels.
the life of what was that Ben Stiller movie? The Life of Mitty.
Oh, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Yes,
Yeah.
it looks like a combo of that. That's what it looks
And
like.
Adam Sandler's Pixels.
So I think that might be a snoozer. I think Eternals will also be a snoozer as well. I feel like that is.
Wait, when you say snoozer, you mean like disappointing or like
No, I think a movie that people aren't expecting to be.
Oh,
good.
okay,
That might
okay,
be.
gotcha.
And I add Eternals as a caveat as well, only because I think that is still a Marvel property that even comic fans are
Yeah.
like, what the fuck?
If they pull this off,
it's like, all right, yeah.
they can do no wrong.
But
If they can
at the
pull off
same time,
Eternals.
it's not going to be surprising. You know, if they pull
Yeah,
it
yeah.
off, I'll be like, all right, yeah, well, of course, it's Disney Studios. But I will be just as
It's like,
impressed.
how far down the list can we do movies with before people just before there's got to be a breaking point. You know,
Yeah.
there has to be.
And I'm waiting for it.
You know,
I
I'm
am.
waiting for it.
I'm waiting for my Starjammers movie,
Yeah, that'd be kind of tight.
Starjammers. Well, if they bring
2025.
First, we got to get a
Phase,
fucking good
they've already
X-Men
planned
movie.
this. You know, there's a board with like Starjammers on it. Like 2030, we're gonna do a Starjammers.
And if I had to pick a movie that I'm sure people are going to hate, it will be the Space Jam 2 movie.
Ooh, that's a
Because-
great pick.
Because the amount of hate it's already gotten
Did you see the
from
trailer?
from the trailer
okay.
was I went on, because it was trending on Twitter when it dropped. So, I was going through the tweets, and it took me a long time to find anyone that was fairly positive about it. I think the only person that was hype about it was LeBron James himself.
Yeah, I'm sitting on a pile of money.
So, Trey, thank you so much for that email. And speaking of emails and fan mail from listeners, I'd like to go ahead and give away a bag of coffee, and not just any bag of beans, but a bag of specialized coffee roasted here in our hometown. It's from the new Threat Supply and Bold Bean collabo. Threat Supply being a company that produces really rad things for game day in Duval, and run by our good friend Austin Wade Ellis. And if you're not familiar with Bold Bean, well, goddamn it, they are one of the best local coffee roasters this side of the Mississippi. You got to keep in mind, not all of our listeners are here, in our hometown.
It's regional.
So, yeah, for sure. But after years of drinking Bold Bean religiously, Threat Supply finally tag teamed with Bold Bean. They released a coffee of their own. It's got notes of orange marmalade, milk chocolate, and Teddy Grahams, which, come on. I think anything with notes of Teddy Grahams is going to be amazing.
Wow.
These are beans for the snobs and casual coffee drinkers alike. I think coffee and comics is an underrated pairing, so I'd like to reward one lucky listener with a bag of this coffee. So whether you're local or you're living outside of Jax, don't worry, I'll take care of the shipping and handling. All you got to do is email us in the next 2 weeks telling us about your favorite comic, or you can champion something else, maybe a movie or a video game or something that you feel is worthy of our time. We'll announce a winner in the first week of July on our Black Widow episode. So either write us in, send an email to our inbox at theshortboxjacks@gmail.com, or you can leave a short voicemail at speakpipe.com/theshortbox. You'll automatically be entered. Like I said, we'll pick a winner in that first episode in July. I got 2 bags of coffee for myself, so I can attest to how good the brew is. And last but not least, one last shout out, man. Speaking of hometown collaborations, Shortbox alumni and comic writer Rachel Dunn has a new comic book coming out June 23rd, alongside co-writer Austin Janowski and artist Vincenzo Mercagliano. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I apologize if not. But they've got a new comic. Yeah. They got a new comic coming out. It's called Divine Retribution. It's published by Second Sight Publishing. They'll be at Gotham City Limit that same day, having a signing and meet and greet. You can check out for the previews. You can check out previews for the book in the latest Previews magazine. The art looks really good. And if you live in the area, man, why not? Stop by the book signing June 23rd at Gotham City Limit. Tell them the Shortbox sent you. Last but not least, and we'll get to champion season. This week we launched a poll on our Patreon for our next artist spotlight, and I had Cesar pick all the candidaes.
It's all Junji Ito.
Close, right? Almost. I mean, that was essentially his first, I was like, I need 3 artists for you to put on this poll. Who are they? He was like, Junji Ito for the second, and then Junji Ito for the third. But in all honesty, the candidates that we've got our Patreon subscribers voting on is Bruce Timm, Junji Ito, and Mobius. And if you guys had to guess now who is running,
crazy selection.
Yeah. I think Corey had seen the polls and he had commented on the poll. He was like, "Yo, does he pick all of these? Like, these are everyone he's been begging to do a spotlight.
He's gonna get one he wants."
Yeah. So if you guys had to guess who is leading in the polls right now for our next artist spotlight, who would you say?
I would say Bruce Timm.
Bruce Timm. I would have said Bruce Timm as well.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was going to be an easy pick. Mobius leads the poll right now with 50% of the votes, and Bruce Timm and Junji Ito are tied with 25% of the votes.
That's surprising.
Granted, there's 12 days left in our poll, so I will say if you are a Patreon subscriber listening and you haven't voted, man, go on over to patreon.com/theshortbox. Go ahead and cast your vote. And if you're not a Patreon subscriber, but you're interested in getting in on this poll and future episode voting topics, man, go ahead and check out our Patreon. So that is where we're at for Artist Spotlight. That'll probably be happening at the end of July. So be on the lookout with that. With all of that being shared, man, it's time to wrap up this episode with our last recurring segment, our champion season. It's the part of the show where we highlight other worthwhile entertainment and recommendations that we feel deserves your attention. This could be much more than comics, but include our movie picks, TV series, books, or video games, and anything else that we're hyped on this week. This segment is brought to you by Black Hive Tattoo, Jacksonville's premier appointment-only custom tattoo studio. If you're searching for a group of talented artists who will work with you to bring your comic culture ideas to life, man, look no further. Go to blackhivetatattoo.com and sign up for their newsletter to find out when they're taking new project requests. Ed, how about you kick us off, man? What are you going to champion today?
I got one champion, and it's going to be another local one. It's going to be Bold City Brewery.
Hey.
Duval Light. They just released, I think, not too long ago.
Oh, they finally released like a light beer.
It's even like a lighter beer than the Killer Whale, which is my favorite.
That's my favorite too.
Great light beer. You don't have to pretend to like IPAs because nobody likes those. I don't know. I don't understand it. I'm gonna quote Ralph Wiggum. Tastes like burning when I drink those. Tastes like burning.
I'll be honest, Ed, I thought you liked IPAs, so anytime you come over and I offer like beer, like, oh, Ed, you want something to drink? I'm always like, please drink the fucking IPAs.
Just sitting, I was like, okay, and just choking it down. Tear in my eye.
Well, now I know, and I got to get some of this.
It's good. I think I don't know if it is, if it's an exclusive to Dailies, because there's the Dailies logo on it. That's where I get mine. But it's good. If you like a light beer, it's a good summertime day drinking beer. Drink responsibly. But yeah, I love that. It's probably it's neck and neck with Killer Whale.
Damn,
it's a very smooth, very crisp. It's great. It's a good beer.
Do you think is River City Brewing available anywhere outside of Jax or Florida?
I don't know. I don't know how far their reach is. It's probably I could see it I don't know who they distribute with, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah,
I mean they're in like Winn-Dixie's and Targets and Publix's.
So there might be. Here's what I'll say, because we've been fortunate enough to have a lot more listeners tune into the show outside of hell, even just the Southeast. If there's any listeners that would be interested in trying some Duval Light or some Killer Whale, I will happily send you a can or two. Right, nothing too crazy.
So generous. Sending stuff
I'm feeling it. It's coming out of the Patreon funds.
Oh man.
No, I wouldn't mind. Look, I am. You guys know we put a spotlight on our hometown as much as we can, but I am very aware that there are listeners that ain't nowhere near us. But I would love to spread the Duval love. So write us an email, and you know what? If it's good, I'll gladly send you something from Duval with love.
My recycling bin is just full of them. It's looking pretty oh my god.
Well, that's good to know.
Wow, you guys had a party here? It's like, yeah, I had a party.
Yeah, it was like 20 people.
Yeah, a bunch of look at all this.
I think Botter's going to be sending some beer to a 15-year-old.
Oh no!
Oh my god, you're right. I need to see proof of ID. You also got to. I'm sorry. I got to look out. Legal liabilities. Yeah, you're right.
Corruption of minors. Here at the Shark Box.
Thank you so much, Ashley. You're right. Well, I mean, I don't even know. I don't even know if 15-year-olds read comics. Is that the cool thing that 15-year-olds do?
It's all 30-year-old, 40-year-old.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
Ed, you got anything else to champion?
Nope, that's it.
All right, Ashley, what about you? What do you want to champion?
I found a new podcast called. It's not new. It's been going on for like 10 years. On and off. The Cryptid Factor. Yeah. And it's Reese Darby, Dan Schreiber, and their friend Buttons, I guess, is like the producer. They just call him Buttons. I don't even know his real name.
I don't either.
That's one of my dream goals is being, if I can't make it as a podcast host in the big leagues, I just want to be the off-screen random producer.
Just
he's on-screen character too, but he's the producer.
Well, now he's really living it.
He made it. Yeah,
he made it.
Just being their friend.
Yeah, but with a random name like a poster, some shit like that.
And Reese Darby is a comedian. He's been in
Flight of the Conchords.
He was their manager.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff. He had a little cameo in Sweet Tooth.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Okay. So it's really
he's
funny.
He's a voice of Ultron. So he's out there.
He's got that real high New Zealand voice. He's been in a ton of stuff that I just can't remember. But he's really good. And it's just they do like a cryptid news, and they do this weekly world news that comes out. It's World Weird News, and most of the time it's Florida news, which is really funny because it's in New Zealand.
Florida, man. Oh damn! Even New Zealand is looking at Florida.
Yeah,
like,
New Zealand.
There's a lot of Florida.
A global embarrassment.
There's a lot of Florida and Texas news.
Florida and Texas. Yeah, sounds about right.
But yeah, it's really good. They're solving this actual cryptid case in New Zealand right now, where people keep seeing this big cat. and there are no big
the big
cats.
cats. It's like basically not a tiger but like a house cat, but a large house cat.
And they're trying to figure out what it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. It's really, and it's better to listen to it now because it comes out like every 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So now that it's been like 10 years, you have a lot to go through.
And I got turned on to that show because there was a spot with the same people, a Spotify original, like a miniseries, Aliens Like Us. And I remember championing that a little while ago. And that's kind of where I heard about the cryptid factor. It's like, oh, they actually been doing this? And they kind of, I think after that series, and that was specifically aliens, and they interviewed, it was like more of an interview show. It's a different format. Then I found out about the cryptid factor, which it's very sporadic since Rhys Darby's like an actor and his schedule is crazy.
Yeah.
And the other guy is some kind of actor too, right? The guy from England.
Yeah, he's like a journalist or something.
Yeah, he's like a journalist. So it's like 2 guys from New Zealand and a guy from England doing this show. Mm-hmm. A lot of cool accents.
Yeah, very cool accents.
Pretty sweet schedule, though. Imagine us only putting out an episode every 2 or 3 months. That's cool. Anything else, Ashley?
That's it. Yeah.
All right, I've got 2. I'm gonna keep on this local love and hometown love by championing River City Wrestling Con.
Oh, yeah.
I had the opportunity, thanks to Nick Batey, to take Ed and Andrew along with me to Saturday's show. So it's Northeast Florida's first pro wrestling fan convention. Like I said, it's run by a friend of the show. His name's Nick Batey. It's a weekend long event featuring personal appearances by legendary pro wrestlers like Kurt Angle, Kane, Mick Foley, and more were there. They do live wrestling matches. They got food trucks. They got a bunch of like vendors selling, wrestling memorabilia, toys, etc. It was my first, wrestling convention. Period.
Me too.
And oh wow,
yeah,
okay, damn.
I'm a wrestling fan.
Talk about a hell of a cool little bonding experience. But I missed it. I missed like the energy of conventions and events like that. I won't lie and say that I wasn't a little hesitant. Because it's like I haven't been to an event with more than 20 people, so it was something to like kind of behold. Weird. But the energy was like man, I can't wait. I immediately couldn't stop thinking about conventions. But in regard to River City Wrestling Con, even though, wrestling is not my thing per se, I'm not, fully in the culture, it was very welcoming. Like, everyone was really friendly.
And I was told you, like, there's so many parallels with comic
100%.
fans and wrestling fans, even the conventions, the way it's set up.
100%.
You have the tables.
Yep.
So it's familiar territory. You go in,
Big
it's
time.
like, oh, I get this.
Yeah. But I did plenty of walking around, talked to plenty of the vendors, got to shake hands with some of the wrestlers, got to sit down for a Kane panel. Like I don't know what I don't know what I was thinking. I guess I didn't think about, there are panels at wrestling conventions that take place in the fucking ring. How cool is that?
Because the fairgrounds, I don't think they have a lot of like private rooms to do these things. So they set up a room
right
in
that
the main
smack
thing,
dab in
which
the middle.
is cool.
Yeah.
And which is cool because like even if you're around, you can just kind of walk up and like, oh, okay, you don't have to go into a room and interrupt anything.
Yep.
So it's a really cool setup. They had set up some chairs in the ring, and they had 2 guys kind of running the panel, and it's cool. It's a cool thing. We got scolded for being too loud.
Yeah, surprise.
Excuse me.
Yeah, surprise.
Excuse me. It's hard enough to hear Kane without you talking.
Yeah, surprise.
Yeah, we got some Karen scolded us.
Yeah, we got scolded.
But
I mean, not saying that like the 150 plus person.
Yeah.
I mean, granted,
we were.
We are always
we
loud,
got excited.
so we did apologize. But I mean,
you and Andrew, come on.
The 100 plus person line that was right behind us for Mick Foley. I mean, it had to help in some way. But like I said, it was a good time. It was a great time. And it makes me think if I start going to conventions about things that maybe I'm not necessarily in, I might pick up new hobbies, Like imagine going to, what was that convention my buddy always tried to get me to go? Supernatural? Yeah. Supernatural Con.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's still one. That is still one that's very low on my list. But I imagine if I go, it'd probably be something.
It's weird to see,
enamored, immersed.
Like how much, and hopefully these will come back because those small shows are really fun because you don't get overwhelmed. Like a MegaCon can be overwhelming to somebody, especially if they have, even before the pandemic, even if they have issues with like large groups of people. Go to like a small con. Even like today, there's like the little toy convention that they do at the Ramada Inn. Oh yeah, Retro Rama.
Yep.
I mean, just go to something like that. And
for sure.
That's kind of like just kind of wean yourself into that.
Yep. That's one of those
especially-
easy, like, get in, get out, like, get an idea of things. And a lot of times you can probably get some good stuff for cheap because you're not competing with, 5,000 people.
And you don't have to pay like parking and a crazy VIP stuff.
So I say, so that's my first champion, River City Wrestling Con. Shout outs to Nick Batey, and I will definitely recommend anyone who missed it this year, get it on their calendar for next year. They're already talking about a 2022 show, so stay tuned to River City Wrestling Con for more information. The last thing I'll champion is a new podcast that I've gotten to myself. It's called the Midnight Miracle Podcast. It features, cultural icons like Talib Kweli, Yassine Bey, formerly known as Mos Def, and of course, Dave Chappelle. Check this out because this is like, I didn't know this part. The names were enough to get me to check out the teaser trailer that's on YouTube and then episode 1 that's readily available, which I highly recommend going on their YouTube and checking out just the teaser trailer alone. But the solicitation for it, or on the website, they've got a little blurb that reads, it was recorded during Chappelle's legendary 2020 summer camp. I did not know he had a summer camp. In an intimate setting at The Shack, a mechanic's garage retrofitted as a clubhouse. Inside, listeners get the sense that they're sitting in on conversation among friends, et cetera, et cetera. The first 2 episodes that I've listened to that are available on Apple Podcasts are fantastic. There's more advertised that are coming on the way, but I noticed if you go to the podcast home base, which is luminarypodcast.com, which means that you've got to kind of, you got to pay for these podcasts. But the first 2 episodes were great. It's Mos Def talking, like, he was sharing a story about Amy Winehouse, and Dave Chappelle shared a story about, like, inviting Robin Williams on. And of course it's hilarious, and it's, it sounds good too. That is one, actually, I can't gloss over that. It sounds fantastic. I think they have plans to put out some of the episodes on vinyl, so they're very conscious of the audio quality. Like, the production quality is great. It's super crisp. So worth checking out if you're a fan of Chappelle.
On vinyl. That's crazy.
I won't lie.
It's cool. It's
my hipster side is like,
I think it's a cool idea.
So anxiously looking forward to it. If you go on the YouTube channel and you play the 2 episodes available, I think it's just a video of the vinyl spinning and the quality playing. So check it out, Midnight Miracle Podcast. They should be having more episodes on Apple Podcasts, but you could pay for some of the other ones that are available now on Luminary. Those are my picks, and we've got some picks to share from our sponsor, Black Hive Tattoo. These are Nick Wagner's picks, all right? And he writes in keeping with this week's premiere of Loki, I'm championing a book. It's called The Gospel of Loki by Joanne Harris. It's a first-person narrative retelling of classic Norse mythology from the perspective of Loki. It's a good read, and Loki's sideways perspective is particularly fun to explore. If you don't have time to read it, the narrator of the audiobook through Audible is really good. Once again, that was a pick by Nick Wagner, the owner of Black Hive Tattoo. Thanks again, Nick. I think that brings us to the end of our show. Ashley, Ed, are you guys taking any commissions? I've got links to your stores in the episode description, but are you guys taking any commissions, doing anything special?
Not right now, unless it's like super cool.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of busy, but if anything, there's certain stuff I can't turn down.
I'm backed up, but definitely I'm willing to entertain ideas for sure. But I'm super backed up.
Fair enough. Like I said, we got links to both of your websites and stores in the episode description. So if you got a cool commission idea, hit up Ashley and Ed for that.
And we got prints too.
So. That's right. Stuff. They've always got prints for sale.
Yeah.
One day I'm going to have stuff to sell, but no, pretty soon. Oh, actually, I will be restocking some of the short box shirts on our Big Cartel site, probably here in like the next week or 2. So stay tuned. I'll probably make a post on social media before I say it on the podcast. But yeah, there you have it, Short Box Nation. Like I love to say, we can keep the conversation going. Feel free to reach out to us on social media or write into the show and email us at theshortboxjacks@gmail.com. You can also leave a short voicemail at speakpipe.com/theshortbox. Remember what I said, for the next 2 weeks, if you send in an email or a voicemail, you'll automatically be entered to win a bag of the new Threat Supply and Bold Bean Collabo coffee. And while you're at it, make sure you're subscribed to the show on your favorite podcast app, because next week we'll be joined by comic creators Dave Baker and Nicole Gooks, who have a new book coming out on Dark Horse Comics called Everyone is Tulip. And of course, if that's too long for you to wait, you can always consider joining our Patreon community for access to our spin-off podcast series, Pilot's License, a bonus series revisiting classic comic book cartoons and animated shows. Our follow-up episode to this month's Spawn Spotlight will be about the 1994 Walt Disney TV series Gargoyles, as selected by our patron, Blake Simone. You can get access to Pilot's License and the rest of our bonus content by clicking the link in the show notes. In the meantime, Shortbox Nation, look, take care of yourselves, have a great week, and please continue to make mine and yours Shortbox. Peace.